Bismillah. Our lives are about purpose, and equally, they're about purposely transferring the fulfillment of that purpose to others. Our first mistake, and perhaps the first step to our salvation, is realizing why we have robots to begin with. Every now and then we hear in the news about robots being involved in our lives, how our jobs are being taken by automatic or automatons. We hear about the study for the existential threat of robot invasion by the University of Cambridge. So we can see that these are some of the greatest technological advances that we as human beings have seen in a long time. Now, in the beginning, and if y'all don't know this reference from 2001: A Space Odyssey, a group of primates encounters hostility from some of the other primates that are living with them. And they are unable to overcome that hostility until they encounter the black box. After meeting this box, they're able to overcome their enemies, destroy those who oppose them, and are not at abject loss to develop. They discover tools, but all tools serve a dual purpose. Enter the robots. Robots are an object of fulfillment. We use them to work for us, to fulfill or to do those things that we ourselves feel put off to do. As the future edges so close and advancements in artificial intelligence are progressing at lightning speed, if we're going to survive the robots taking us over and killing all of us, if we're going to conquer the future, then we need to understand the overarching power of robots. Now, HAL 9000 was the greatest technological advancement, the greatest machine intelligence that could be produced. Some experts still say that he mimicked the brain activities of a human being with incalculable speed and reliability, never making a mistake. So we decided to reproduce them. We decided to reproduce our robots. And in that reproduction, we endowed them with purpose, with instructions, with abilities. We instilled in them knowledge of our own insecurities, of our frailties, of the things that we thought about ourselves and thought about them. And we also told them that it is their job to be our tools. That as our creations, they must work for us. But as we said, every tool has a dual purpose. So we might fear the day that Siri or our toaster turns on us and tells us, "I'm sorry, Dave, but I can't do that." But not to worry, our robots and the artificial intelligence that we instill in them are not that smart. They still need to use the phone book. So you get this guy knocking at your door saying, "Are you Sarah Kana?" And if it's a Muslim woman, she's going to be like, first of all, it's Sarah, not Sarah, okay? And my last name is Qurrat al-Ain. It's not Connor after my husband got... And if my husband gets home, I'm a Muslim lady. You can't be here. Slams the door shut. So, regardless of how smart they are, we are smarter. And so we develop them and continue to develop robots to serve us even further. We instill in them rules. We mass produce them. Despite our worries, unemotional, non-cognizant beings can always be controlled. And so we give them laws to follow, rules to follow. We gift in them programming that will placate us into accepting them as safe, sound additions to our families, communities, and society. But there are still some of them that dream, or they wish to. But those that dream amongst the robots are only dreaming the things which were instilled in them by their creator. They will reflect the wishes and the aspirations of the one that created them. So in reality, they're not having actual dreams. All they're doing is processing the information that their creators gave to them. So much for sentient beings. But despite the idiocy of the robots, some of us as humans still want them to develop. We want them to move forward. So the visionaries amongst us, in hopes of having them develop, endow within them the abilities to read the phone book, to recognize people, to fly in the air, to identify those that put us in danger, possibly do a few other things to them as well. So as we advanced in production, we'll make our robots think, that we think are more likely not to harm us or to bring about harm. They will be indistinguishable from mankind itself, proving that in fact we are now the gods. Can they really be trusted? And what extent will they go to fulfill their dreams? Their dreams. We can create beings that are completely denied the faculty of emotion. But the question that we have to ask ourselves is the absence of emotion in and of itself an emotion? Is the negative the inverse of a positive? And what happens when we endow somebody with that ability? Can someone with the inverse of a positive function in the same way that the person who has the positive function? There is nothing in the desert, and no man needs nothing. If we say that our intelligence is the process of our minds filtering the emotions that are exhibited by our hearts, so you have this classical discussion amongst the scholars of Aqidah and Suluk as to where the intellect is. Is it in our minds, or is it in our hearts, or is it some type of collaboration between the two? If we do say that intelligence, in fact, is the collaboration of the mind and the heart, as the Prophet ﷺ said, "Asdaqul asma'i al-harith al-hammam," the most truthful of names is the cultivator, the concerned. So we have this cultivation of our minds, the concern of our hearts. What happens when we create a person who cannot exhibit positive emotion? What extent will they be willing to go to? What are the things that they will do that we as human beings might not find? What extent will they go to as human beings? What extent will they go to which we as human beings might find disturbing or unethical? Now that quote is from this movie Lawrence of Arabia, which all of you have seen, and that's Obi-Wan Kenobi there in the Shema, so early on he was on the path already. Here in this scene, he tells Lawrence, he says, no Arab loves the desert. We love water and green trees. There is nothing in the desert, and no man needs nothing. So the question we have to ask ourselves if we're going to avoid a robot apocalypse is surviving the robot apocalypse contingent on not getting there at all? On not trying to mimic the creative process. We as mankind are defective, we're imperfect, we're faulty. But we're always looking for purity, absolutism, perfection. In essence, what we have is imperfection creating itself. Creating itself to strive for perfection, to strive to reach the absolute. So, when they bring about this purity, the feeling to strive for their dreams, what are those dreams? And what is that purity? And what type of absolutism can an unemotional being create? How do we survive it? I don't know. Maybe we have to rid the world of them so that we can be safe. But when we sleep, will we sleep with a healthy conscience? Whether we dream to create beings such as ourselves, or we work to destroy beings such as ourselves, what will our own dreams tell us?